What's up, everyone? How's it going? Angel from WMA here, and today I got a pretty good video for you guys. Before I tell you guys what it is, if you guys can do me a huge favor and subscribe to the channel, where we're super close to 300 subscribers. For the time of recording this video, I think we're like 2 off, so I greatly appreciate it. But with that out the way, what I got in store for you guys today, we're gonna try to predict every single pay-per-view of 2025. Quick disclaimer though, this was really hard to do. Matchmaking is easy when you have something in front of you, but when we're in December, rolling the dice on this fight going this way and this fight going that way, it gets a little. And then I also pretty much stacked every card almost. We'll get into some of them that I didn't, but that's me playing devil's advocate, because the UFC low-key be stingy. But with that out the way, just remember, this is for fun, and I hope you guys enjoy the list. So in January, obviously we have Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan 2 happening a couple weeks from now. LA, the new Intuit Dome looks cool. And then co-main, Merab Dvalishvili, Umar Nurmagomedov, huge fight, can't wait for that. What a way to kick off the year. Then we have the rematch between Du Plessis and Strickland. Kind of redundant, but let's get it out the way, I guess. So 2 months, 2 good fights. But March, this is where it gets interesting. March, T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, headlined by Magomed Ankalaev versus Alex Poatan Pereira. This is the fight that makes sense. There's literally no one else. This is a number 1 contender versus champion. I hope it happens next. Alex is talking about this and that it's not going to be him. It is during Ramadan, so maybe that's a factor there, but makes sense. I think Alex wants to get back in March, so hopefully this is what happens. Then co-main, Justin Gaethje versus Dan Hooker. In my humble opinion, this fight is a banger. Justin Gaethje was talking about wanting to come back in March. What a better dance partner than Dan. He's been away for a while. It's time for them to get back in there, throw down, maybe put themselves up there for another title shot. Then, a random featured fight between Brandon Moreno and Tatsuro Taira. In my opinion, this is a fight that can get made for, the next number 1 contender at 125, since Pantoja is kind of clearing out the division, and since Manel Kape is booked against Brandon Royval. That tells me that neither of them are getting it next. I don't think Brandon Moreno is getting it next, and Tatsuro Taira is definitely not getting it next. So there's really no one else except for Kai Kara France. So it looks like they're probably going to give it to him. That's what I'm guessing. And since there's really nothing else for Brandon Moreno, let's do Tatsuro Taira. And then we have Marcin Vettori versus Flavio Hernandez. I think Flavio Hernandez deserves to fight up the rankings. He's low-key been stagnant the whole year, even though he had really good fights and finishes last year. And Marcin Vettori is just kind of a blob guy, so feed him to him. Let's have a good fight there. And then Sean Brady versus Ian Gary. I don't know. I feel like they'll feed someone like Sean Brady to Ian Gary to get him back on the horse, push him towards the title shot again. So I just see that fight happening, and what a way to open up the card. So that's my first card of March. Next, we're in Miami, Chiesa Center, April. Headlined by Ilia Topuria versus Alexander Volkanovski. Alexander Volkanovski wanted to return in April, and let's say he doesn't move up yet, he has to get back with Alexander Volkanovski. Makes sense. I think both men are due for it. Why not? And then co-main, we have Alexander Pantoja versus Kai Kara France. I was just talking about it in the last one. I think this is the fight that's going to get made. Pantoja expressed interest in fighting in Miami because I'm pretty sure that's where his gym is, where he trains at, so it's going to be close to home. Let's see it. And then featured fight, Kamaru Usman versus Jack Della. A W fight, a number 1 contender fight for 170. I think both men have been away for quite a bit now, so let's see some action going. The fight after that, got Khalil Roundtree versus Alexander Rakic. I think this fight makes a lot of sense. Both men are coming off losses. I think a winner can get pushed into the top 5, especially because Rakic has lost 2 times and is still at top 5 for some reason. But makes sense for me. And then the last fight is kind of like what the hell. But I just think it's going to be kind of a funny matchup if it gets made. two big brawling Brazilians going out there and knock each other out. In my humble opinion, guaranteed fireworks. Miguel Pereira, Paulo Costa. Makes sense. Let's see it. That is it for April, the main card. Now we're in May, and this is where the question marks come in, huh? Let's just throw this on Canada, because they go to Canada. Let's give them a trash card. Why not? They typically do. Headlined by WMMA fight. Well, I don't mean like a W, like a good one, but women MMA. Valentina Shevchenko versus Faram. What's her name? Faram Mignon, something like that. The French girl, she's the #1 contender, deserves to fight for it. And I think here in my notes, what I got down is all that glitters is not gold. So, we have to have a little stinker here and there. Co-main, though, amazing co-main between Sean O'Malley versus Peter Yan. 5 rounds for the #1 contender at 135. I believe this will be saved the match, the whole card. Then the featured fight, Cyril Gane versus Gelton Almeida. Gelton Almeida is going to fight in January. If he wins that fight, this should give him enough time to recover or whatever, and then get back in there. I think Gane needs to fight again after that performance he had against Alexander Volkov. If he wins this, then my bad. I did not have that on. But whoever wins this is probably going to be next for Tom Aspinall or John Jones, whoever wins, And then, random little fight against Alexa Grasso versus Aaron Blanchfield. Probably wouldn't be on a card like this. Probably be like a fight night or something. But I think this, I like how when pay-per-views set up the next challenger. So here we have the flyweight title, and then on the lower we have the #1 contender for the flyweight. Whoever wins between this is going to fight next. So I'd love to see it. And then at the last fight, the opener of the main card, I got here in my notes, W-Unk match between Jeff Neal and Gilbert Burns. I think it's a fight that makes sense on paper. Why not? Let's see it happen. And that brings us to June. And this is the one I've been waiting for. Chicago card. 2 Chicago champions. Close to home to me. I want to see it. I love to see it. Obviously, main event, Belal Muhammad, Shavkat Rakhmonov. The fight that should have happened in December. It's time. I know it got pushed back hella. We'd like to see it sooner than later, but I think this is the perfect time for it. And then co-main event, Juliana Pena versus Carla Harrison. Way too pushed far, in my opinion. This fight should have arguably happened from the beginning, But it is what it is. Juliana Pena likes to hold. I don't know why. She won the title and she was like, I'm gonna wait 6 months or something like that. Boy. Anyways, the fight happens here. And then the feature fight, Chito Vera versus Henry Cejudo. I think that's a good fight. Both guys are on losing skids. Winner can maybe rebound in their career. Makes sense. And then the next fight after that, we have Brian Ortega versus Aljamain Sterling. I think this fight makes a lot of sense. This is a fight that I think Brian Ortega can take to not get hurt. He was getting pretty badly hurt in his last 2 fights. This is going to be a grappling matchup. Let's see who's the best grappler. And then the last fight, just kind of a meme fight. Derek Lewis versus Shamil Gaziev. Gaziev title run? We'll see. But I think that'd be a pretty good fight. Whoever doesn't get tired wins. And that does it for June. July. International Fight Week. The most hype matchup. John Jones versus Stipe Miocic. This fight has to happen. And there is no better stage than International Fight Week. Let's see it. See who's the best heavyweight. There's a lot of talk about John Jones going to lose to this guy. Tam Aspinall is going to run over him. You never know. It's MMA. What if John Jones just wins somehow? That's why I want to see it. And then here we have the co-main, Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje 3, the retirement match. This is granted if Justin Gaethje gets past Dan Hooker, which I think he can on paper. And then whoever wins here can maybe go for a title shot. Loser retires. Makes sense? Let's see it. Then we have Robert Whittaker versus Kyle Barajo. I think this is enough time for Robert Whittaker to recover and come back to fight another contender guy. I think the winner of this, well, if Kyle wins, he should get the title shot next. If Robert wins, maybe one more and then for the title again. And then we have Leon Edwards versus Ian Gary. This will be the match to make for the next, so since Bilal took forever to get back in my little story here, let's say the winner of that fight is gonna fight the winner of JDM versus Kamaru Usman, and then the fight here between Leon Edwards and Ian Gary is gonna be for the winner of that fight. So the number 2 contender after number 1 gets a shot, if you get what I mean. And then sadly the opener is a woman MMA fight, but diversity, you gotta throw them in every so often. Now we reach July again, because they typically do 2 pay-per-views in July. But here we have the Salt Lake City card, and arguably maybe some of these fights shouldn't happen at Salt Lake City because of the altitude, but something had to be on here, so whatever. DDP Hamza Chimaev. I think if DDP wins his fight against Sean Strickland, this gives him enough time to recover, come back, and have his training camp for Hamza to fight in the summer, and this is a good place to put it. W fight probably should happen instead of Sean Strickland, but I digress. Then here, you might wonder what the little belt right there is. So here, what I put in my notes, Ilya has officially done with the 145 division. He beat Alexander Volkanovski again, leaves the belt vacant, and there's only 2 men who are like actually worthy for fighting for it. Diego Lopez, Movsar Evloev, the rematch for the vacant belt. Why not? Let's see it. Then featured fight, let's say Yuri loses to Jamal Hill in January. Gives enough time to come back and fight Jan Blachowicz. These guys have been in their division for way too long and not fought each other. Better time than ever. Let's see it. I think this is an awesome fight. Then Wonder Boy versus MVP. Why has this fight not been made already? Let's see it. Perfect for this fight. And then opener, we have Marab versus Figueiredo. Let's say Marab loses to Umar. This is a good fight to bounce back. Let's say Figgy has won a couple or maybe one off screen, because you know there's gonna be fight nights in between, but I'm not predicting every fight night, man. That's gonna be impossible. But this fight happens, and then let's just see what happens. So this is for July. Now we're in August. This is in New York, New Jersey. Islam is back, and he fights. He gives Charles his rematch finally. Years in the making, the rematch. It's finally here. And then here I got the BMF belt. To quickly explain myself, I forgot about Max Holloway like halfway through this thing, but there's so much fights I want to make, so I just threw him on here versus Fiziev, because I don't really know who else he would fight, to be honest. Let's say Fiziev has an off-screen win streak, and they're just like, alright, let's give him Fiziev. So there's really Max Holloway BMF. I don't know, my bad. And then here we have a surprise little fight here. Ilya's not the champ no more, but that's just his picture. So let's say he looks like Patty here with his arms on his side. Ilya versus Patty for number 1 contendership at 155. Let's say Patty off screen beats 2 guys. Let's say he's really active. And Ilya moves up. The winner of this gets the winner of Islam versus Charles. Bloodbath. This fight has been brewing for a long time. Boom. Makes sense. Then here we have a random little fight, Kai Kara France versus Steve Erceg. Let's say both guys win like 1, and they're like kind of next to each other. Winner of this goes to like the top 5 or something, I don't know. And then again, another woman fight, Irene Aldana versus Perez, Aline Perez, I think her name is. The girl who be throwing it back. Let's just see the fight, I guess. That is for August. Now we're in September. Let's say this is Noche UFC because it's September. So they already have a bunch of Mexican fighters on here. But headlined by the rematch between Alex Pereira and Jamal Hill. Let's say Alex Pereira beats Magomedov Ankalaev and Jamal Hill beats Yuri Prochazka. This fight makes sense. The rematch, the bloodbath, the build-up will be insane. And I think it's a fight that a lot of us wouldn't mind seeing. Co-main, Alexander Pantoja gets past Kai Kara France. Brandon Moreno wins against Tatsuro Taira. He rightfully earned back his number 1 contendership. Hopefully he wins the belt and we get another champ in Mexico. Then featured fight for just the giggles, the baddie matchup between Alexa Grasso and Tracy Cortez. Maybe winner gets up there in the top 5 or something. Probably the most unlikely fight I made, but I just thought it was funny, so that's that. And then we have Tim Elliott versus Ronaldo Rodriguez, Lazy Boy Rodriguez. Let's say Tim Elliott loses 1 fight early 2025, so then he's at the bottom of top 15. It gives Lazy Boy the perfect chance to enter the top 15. And I think it makes sense on paper. W fight. And then this next one, the opener, is kind of a big, like, what if? Because we're going to see Ariel Helwani, who's in the top 15 of bantamweight, versus Raul Rosas. This is going to be Raul Rosas' biggest test. And if he wins, he's in the top 15. So it's going to be very exciting to see. And hopefully Raul Rosas wins his fantasy matchup. That does it for September. Noche UFC. Hopefully we get more dubs than last year. Please. That brings to Abu Dhabi. And now this is where we get to the speculation city. So this is granted that Shavkat Rakhmonov beats Bilal Muhammad and that JDM beats Usman. So then these guys finally fight. Super exciting fighters. It's going to make for a W fight for the welterweight title. Then let's say Umar beats Merab and Sean beats Peter again. This is for the rematch. Oh, not the rematch, but for the 135 title. Dagestan versus Ireland from Wish. Why not? That'll be an exciting matchup on its own. And these two fights are like amazing. But you know how they do stack Dagestan. I mean, the Abu Dhabi cards. Feature fight: Magomedov Ankalaev coming off his devastating loss to Potan. He's trying to bounce back. Khalil Roundtree beats Rakic and is looking to get back into the top 5, maybe for a title shot. And this fight is going to be good for both men. And then let's say Mostar Evloev loses to Diego Lopez and Funkmaster beats Brian Ortega. This is a perfect time for this rematch. Abu Dhabi of all places. I would love to see it. Then opener we have Sergey Pavlovich versus Shamil Gaziev. Gaziev gets past Derek Lewis by running an extra mile in practice. And this fight, maybe for the title shot. Imagine that. Shamil Gaziev title shot, 2025. Nah, but that's going to do it for Abu Dhabi. I think it's a W card. 2 November, Madison Square Garden. Tom Aspinall beats John Jones. This is now the undisputed heavyweight title holder. And Cyril Gane beats Jelton Almeida to rightfully claim his #1 contendership. And they fight to headline Madison Square Garden. Feature fight, or co-main, sorry. Diego Lopez, now the champion, is looking at defense against Yair Rodriguez. Yair Rodriguez has off-screen title run wins. He wins 2 times. That's all he really needs. He's up there to fight for the belt again. Featured fight, Michael Morales has off-screen wins too. He's looking to get up into the number 9, number 6 in the world, whatever, number 5 maybe, against Sean Brady. Makes sense. Then we have Bryce Mitchell versus Kevin Kattar. America. That's all I got in my notes here. America. And then opener, Benoit Saint-Denis versus Michael Chandler. Let's say Benoit Saint-Denis is back on the track. He's looking to finish Michael Chandler to get back up there into like top 7 or something like that. Makes sense. Why not? That brings us to the last card of the year. December, we're back in Las Vegas. Hamza Chimaev is now the undisputed champion at 185. He's looking to make his first title defense off surging contender Caio Barajo. He just beat Robert Whittaker, earned his spot. And it's time to see Fighting Nerds versus Boars. Then here, you might be asking, why do I have Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje? Allow me to explain. Islam, after beating Charles, has now been the most successful lightweight in history, having 5 title defenses. So he's like, alright, time to move up, gang. So he moved up. So this will either be for an interim or vacant lightweight title fight between Justin Gaethje and Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria gets past Paddy the Baddy in devastating fashion, and Justin Gaethje puts away Dustin Poirier for the second time, rightfully claiming his #1 contendership. And this fight will be for a vacant or interim lightweight title. Then our featured fight, we got the Battle of Unks 2, Dominic Reyes versus Johnny Walker. Loser retires. Then we have Joaquin Buckley versus Kamaru Usman. This fight would probably happen a lot sooner, but started running out of options here, so why not? Let's see it. And then the opener, Colby Covington versus Wonderboy Thompson. At this point of their career, it makes a lot of sense. Hopefully they don't retire before this, but that's going to be the last card of the year. So that's going to do it for my video. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree? Disagree? Am I unrealistic? Let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Until next time, peace.